Welcome to DCxPCLive presents Scene Support, the podcast that highlights the unsung heroes of the music scene. Recording engineers, show promoters, record labels, graphic artists, photographers, zine writers, sound people, and more. I'm your host, Scott Pash, owner and operator of DCxPCLive, a DIY record label documenting live hardcore punk, ska, and metal shows on short-run vinyl. I have 30 years of experience playing in hardcore bands across DC, Florida, and New York, as well as booking and promoting shows, and I've had the privilege of working with amazing people in the scene. Today's guest is Eva McSwagger, bartender extraordinaire at Snapper Magees, a beloved dive bar that has been the cornerstone of punk and hardcore shows for over a decade. While bands routinely shout out "tip your bartender" from stage, such acknowledgments barely scratch the surface of how vital a good bartender is to the scene. Their role extends far beyond pouring drinks. They help create the welcoming atmosphere that makes venues feel like home for bands and fans alike. Since taking her place behind Snapper's bar, Eva has been a witness to countless shows, from triumphant nights that become local legend to gloriously chaotic disasters worth their own chapter in punk rock history. I first met Eva in October 2022, and her warmth and genuine investment in the scene immediately made me feel welcome. In fact, our conversations at Snappers played no small part in my decision to relocate to the Hudson Valley in 2023. Today, I'm excited to get Eva's unique perspective on punk shows look like from behind the bar, and to hear some stories that only a Snapper's bartender could tell. How you doing, Eva?
Fine.
Fine. You're fine. It's Tuesday morning and you're off of work.
It's Wednesday.
Well, there you go then.
It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. Because you don't work on Wednesdays.
I haven't worked a Wednesday in over 10 years, any job I've had.
Wow.
Isn't that weird? I don't plan
weird.
for that. It just happens.
That is so fucking bizarre. So, as I was saying, I met Eva. I was looking at PhD programs, and O Positive Fest was happening in Kingston. And my wife's like, "Oh, you should go to O Positive Fest on your way to visit the different universities." And I was like, "Yeah, there's some friends playing. I'll go do that." And, in between, whatever, I think I stopped into Snappers multiple times over that weekend.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
And every time, Eva was great, and I saw the stickers in the back. She's like, "Well, there's not really any hardcore punk shows here that often, but there is one here this Sunday." And we just talked and connected, and I was like, she says there's not, but there should be. And there has been, so there can be. And if this has existed here before, it can exist again. And just in talking to you and the way you made me feel, I came home and I was like, all right, Hudson Valley wasn't my first choice of where to move. But if this one bar and this one person is representative of the quality of people that I'm going to meet, let's make this shit happen. And here I am 2 years later.
I love that. You're making me blush.
Well, you should. You are fabulous. So, how long have you worked at Snappers now?
About 4 years, roughly, I think.
Okay.
Around that. It was right after quarantine, the year after that I started there.
Okay. And how many shows were they doing during the time you worked there versus prior to you working? What was the show
experience? Prior to me working there was a lot more frequent.
Okay.
It used to be probably once a month or so for years, and then slowly towards from 2015 on, it slowly became less frequent. And then, when I started, they had just been closed for 15 months for quarantine. And then the owner at the time was like, "No more live shows. I'm not fucking doing it. I'm not interested," which was very off brand because he has a record company and stuff. I'm like, he's a music guy. So I was like, Why are we not doing these things? But he just didn't want to deal with it. And it was very odd because those shows, they were always so successful. And I think the first time I ever went to Snappers, there was a show going on. That's a very blip of a memory I have.
Okay. And is that what made you want to work there? Was the fact that they had shows and you get to see them?
No, I never actually intended on working at Snappers because I wanted it to stay golden. I didn't want to see how the sausage is made kind of thing.
I get that.
I was just offered a job, so happens, by a bartender who was there 20 minutes after I rage quit the job I had for 10 years almost. By coincidence, she calls me and she's like, "I don't want to work here anymore. Take my job." I'm like, "Okay." So then I just started the next day.
Wow.
But, yeah.
That's phenomenal.
It was great. But first time I went there was probably about 10 years ago. Roughly, because I'm 31. So I would have been 21. And I remember being like, okay, I've heard of this place my entire life. I have friends who drink here all the time. And I never really saw the inside because I never bothered to try to get in underage. But I remember the first time I walked in there, I was like, yeah, this makes sense. In my head, this is what I imagined Snappers to look like by all the stories I'd heard about it. And it's exactly what it looks like.
It's such an interesting bar too, because being open at noon and then being open till 4.
Yeah.
The changeover of people is fairly dramatic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, like during the early afternoons you've seen, it's all like the older guys who are like retired or whatever, or like maybe they do like part-time contracting or something, very blue collary. And they're the same people almost every single day. People have been drinking there for 20 years. And then as soon as like 4 to 6 o'clock hits, you kind of get like an after work crowd. But I don't know, that also it's like a mixed blend. You get some people who are younger, some people are older. For that's like a 2 hour period. And then all of a sudden the night shift starts at 8 and you get all the younger people, all like a totally different crowd that has like, it feels like you're in a different bar almost.
Sure, but that's kind of like the beauty of it. Like
yeah, the diversity is like
insane. It can be whatever you want it to be. So, like, you know, I just did my first Sunday matinee at Snappers just a couple of days ago, Sunday, and like you could just tell the difference between when it started during the show and then immediately after the show.
Yeah, the difference it's like it's very visible for sure. No, I couldn't go to the show on Sunday. I was not feeling well, but I saw all the videos about it, and it looks like it was fucking packed in there.
It was pretty good. I mean, I think we had a good 70 plus people pay, throw in the 5 bands on top of it, the different other people that are there. There's well over 100 people in that little bar.
Fuck yeah. Love that.
So that was fucking great. So tell me about what it's like to be a bartender during the show, because, you know, one of the things I talked to the owners today, they're like, how did your new bartender, Brittany, do? And I was like, as far as I could tell, she was fine. Whenever I wanted a beer, she got me a beer. So, and I'm not exactly a teetotaler, so that was frequently throughout the night.
Yes. No, during a show, it's like there's a fun rhythm to it because like as people are walking in, like when doors start or whatever, that first half hour is probably like pretty busy, and then people like start to get in a rhythm. But then when the show starts, but every time a song ends, someone is gonna give up standing up there, and they're gonna take that opportunity to come to the bar. So every time a song is ending, I'm like, okay, be prepared for 14 people to walk up for 30 seconds at a time, like. And if you can like clock them from across the room, you can like prepare their drink before they even walk over there. But yeah, there's definitely there's a like a thing to it. You have to understand the science behind the room kind of thing. But the busyness is cool because like money's there. Usually people, especially at Snappers, like people who come for shows, they're like really nice people. They don't cause problems. And most of them don't even drink that much, to be honest with you.
Yep.
But they still like will throw $5 in the bar just because they were standing there. And I'm like, you don't have to do that, but it's nice. But it definitely is. It's loud as hell, so it's like impossible to hear anything.
Yeah, I've always wondered that.
Yeah, I have to constantly be like, what? And it's a lot of sign language that we make up on the spot, me and this customer I've never met before. But yeah, it's fun though.
But at least you don't do taps, because like I was at a show on like Friday or some other night. So many nights I go to shows, and they're like, "What's your name?" Scott Pash, and I'm like shouting it, and they're like, "What?" I was like, Scott Pash, and I'm like making it as like emphasizing it as much, and I'm like, they're gonna put it on the right. I mean, I can't even imagine how hard it is to hear people's names, get it right, find the card, hear the drink. Like, how do you mitigate all that?
Well, when I worked in another bar that's now closed, we did tabs, and it was a pretty large bar. It held probably like 250 people in there. And so we would have events every once in a while, or we had like a very loud jazz band every Thursday, and the acoustics in there were crazy. So it was like you could hear it 2 blocks away. It was way too loud. So like I'd be running tabs people, and they're just like yelling their names at me, and I'm like, and at some point you just do this motion, like show me your ID so you can match it. But like that's all you can really do. But at that point, you're just frustrated. So you're just like angry. You're like doing this motion at some person, and they're like, "What the fuck does this mean?" And I'm like, "How else do I say ID?" But I don't know. It's a weird thing to have to give your ID at the end of the night. But it's the only way to read someone's name.
Sure. And that brings up the other thing. Like originally at my show on Sunday, we weren't going to check ID at the door, but then Alan was there helping check because, you know, I can imagine the busier it gets, the harder it is to have to check ID.
It takes up way more time.
Yeah.
It's like. Especially like, so I work Friday nights, it's busy then. And like, there's a time in the night where we get like probably 30 people in like a 5-minute span. Like, it's just like clockwork every week. It's like 10:30, 11:30, somewhere in there. And there's a point where I'm like making drinks over here and like a comfortable timing, and all these people walk in the door and there isn't a bouncer yet. So I'm like, all right, I have to check 30 IDs while also making these cocktails I already started, and then taking everyone's order, telling 20 of these 30 people that have never been here before that we don't take cards, we're cash only, and then directing them to an ATM to stand in line. It's like, I can't recognize all their faces, so I can't remember how many of you have ID'd already, so I just double ID everyone by accident. It's a mess.
I mean, I mean, particularly even at a show, like maybe you might recognize it, but like to be perfectly honest, hardcore punk dudes, we all look the same nowadays. Beards, black t-shirts, tattoos. Like how do you tell us apart from each other? Even if we glasses, we all tend to have the same sort of plastic frames. Like we all look very, very. There's a type, right? It's like
Yeah, I when I have like college age kids, like 22, 25, and they all look the same to me. I can't tell them apart, especially the boys. And so I just call them all haircut when I talk to them. I'm like, "Hey, haircut, come here. I like here's your change." And at first people like really did not like it. Like, the boys I said it to were not fans immediately, but they eventually were nice about it enough.
They eventually understood it was a term of endearment.
I'm still gonna keep bullying them. I don't know. Get a new haircut.
There were a couple years where I used to wear a backwards pink trucker hat as like that way people remember if they met me at a show.
That was your look. Yeah.
That was like my flair, if you will, like my piece of flair that allowed people to know that I was here and it was a different person.
Like, it's me.
It's me. You know, so you mentioned cocktails. Like, I have to imagine, I hope people are smart enough to know that when it's busy, instead of asking for a fancy cocktail, which I don't know how many people get cocktails at Snappers.
I usually just at Snappers tell them no.
Okay.
But at other bars, yeah, it gets fucking annoying.
I mean, be like, okay, they're really busy. I'm just going to get a beer or a shot and move on.
Yeah, exactly. So like at Snappers, we have so much leeway to just kind of be ourselves all the time. We don't have to watch our language. As long as we're not overstepping a boundary of some kind, then we can just talk to people the way we normally would talk to people. So like if someone comes up to me and I have like 5 people waiting for drinks, I have 60 people in the bar and I'm the only bartender. And they're like, "Hey, can I get 3 Long Islands, 2 green tea shots, 3 kamikazes, all this stupid shit I don't want to hear about?" I'm going to be like, no. The answer, I'm glad you said
you get a PBR and a shot. Done. Get out of here.
Like, the answer is no. You may not have those things. What canned beer would you like? Or you have 5 seconds to figure that out, or I'm walking away from you. Like, I do not have time for this. Yeah, it's just like courtesy. Like, if you walk into like, I don't know, it's also annoying for the customer, I imagine. Like when I go to a show at like a big venue of some kind, I don't ever just get like I don't even get something. I usually drink a whiskey neat. I won't do that because I have to go get a new neat every 20 minutes. That sucks. Yeah. I will just get a Jameson ginger double because that will last longer and it's fine. But like, it makes my life easier. It makes the bartender's life easier. Why would you want to wait for 15 minutes for a shitty Manhattan from Snapper Magees? That doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. How often do you want to stand in line and wait for a drink?
Yeah, and then complain about it and tip me 50 cents.
Get like, a tall boy beer and be happy with it. Put a koozie on it so it stays cold.
Yep.
And like just chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
So, what were some of the shows you've seen since you've been bartending there that like you can think back to? Because it doesn't sound like they're that terrible, that many, because of like the pandemic and stuff like that. But you bartended some shows. Like, what's one you could really think of that stinks in your head?
I am the worst with remembering why these shows were occurring. I want to say it was a Top Rank anniversary show, like the first or second one.
They do great shows, by the way.
Yeah, I think it was one of their shows, but they were supposed to have like 4 hardcore bands, and whatever the 4th band was, like the headlining band, for some reason couldn't show up or something. There was kind of thing very last minute that fucked everything up. So our old owner was working the door that night, and he was like, we asked him, we're like, "Oh, we have friends who are here who are in a very popular band. They're willing to take the headlining spot if you're cool with that." And he was just like, "No, we're not allowing that. No. But as bartenders, we all kind of just like secretly were like, well, he's leaving at 1. So as soon as he leaves, that band is getting on stage and they're performing without his knowledge." And so, yeah, they ended up headlining the show that night. And it was very fucking cool. They wanted to play there again last year sometime, or almost 2 years ago now, because it was the same enoner. He was like, "No." And I'm like, I think he just doesn't like these guys. I don't know why.
Okay, do you remember the name of the band?
Yeah, it's Age of Apocalypse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll bring them on sometime.
They're all really nice guys. I mean, I don't know all of them, but I know a couple of them. I went to school with them. And, yeah, they're all nice kids.
And how did your show, because my show was a matinee, and I know in talking to the owners, they wanted it to run later, but I'm always hesitant to run later on a Sunday, especially when I have bands from out of town that are like, "Oh yeah, we can like play here, be done at 9 and drive home to Massachusetts in 2 hours and still get home at like, between 11 and midnight."
I mean, it's a school night, for God's sake.
It's a school night, but I'm sure you've done weekday shows. Do your weekday shows also end at like 1 o'clock, or do you?
No, we don't do weekdays. Your matinee, I think, was the first show we did during daylight hours.
Okay.
And that was still a Sunday, but like, yeah, I don't think. At one time we had I think the only time Snappers ever held an open mic, there was an open mic comedy night like 2-3 years ago, maybe. Yep. I was not in attendance, but I did hear for a random Wednesday at night, which usually is very slow. They got like 30 people in there.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Not too bad for a night where we normally probably would have had 3 customers all night. Now we had 30.
But in comparison, like I've done like Tuesday night shows at Snugs in New Paltz.
Right.
And on a snowy Tuesday, I've had 80 people in there. But Snugs also is a college town.
Yeah.
They have a built-in thousands of students. Some of them with fake IDs, some of them real IDs, whatever. But Kingston doesn't have that college crowd. Like you have real working people and kids.
Right, essentially, yeah. And like, I don't know, Kingston, a lot of people don't want to leave their house, add their own routine. Like a lot of people don't, they're like, oh, I'm already at the bar 3 nights of the week. I don't want to go there a 4th night for this event. So either I'm there because I happen to be there, or I'm probably not going to go out of my way to go, because it's all the same people all week long, myself included. It's always been that way. I've been drinking there for a decade. Like, it's just part of your routine. But like, yeah, if I go to Snappers, I, as a bartender, almost always forget there's an event going on when I get there. Well, either I'm on the clock or as a customer, I'm like, oh yeah, there is that thing today, isn't there? And I'm just like, oh, here we go.
Do you work Saturday nights?
I did work Saturday nights for a long time, but now I work Friday nights.
Okay, because there's that big 8-band show that's coming Saturday at Snapper.
Oh, this Saturday. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 18th.
Yeah.
I'm working that Saturday night, though.
Okay.
Because they needed a bar back to help out Terry during the day. Because it starts at 7, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Terry will still be on.
And that's going to go late, because you got 8 bands on there.
Yeah, so I'm going to be there, because normally on Saturdays we have 2 bartenders, but we only have one until 11 o'clock at night, and then the second one joins. So I should be there probably from like 6 to like probably 11, and then I probably get to leave after that, but yeah.
So in your experience, and like, if you were working a Friday night, would you rather work a normal Friday night or a Friday night with a show? Do you think a show
with a show
bring you more money? Is it because of more money, or just because it's more fun?
Both.
Okay.
Also, with shows, it's kind of the shows, like especially like loud bands, they have a way of scaring away the losers who are often fucking assholes every single Friday or Saturday, and people who just like don't want to deal with the band. So like those shitheads leave, and then I get this cool fucking show going on. And I've never had a problem with any band member of any kind. Everyone's always so nice. So I'm like, I'd rather those people stick around. Plus, we have twice as many people as usual, and those shitheads left. So I prefer a show.
And the bands tip well, I hope, because I passed out free drink tickets, and I was like, I hesitate to have to tell you this, because I assume you know better because you're not assholes, but the drinks are free, but the service is not. So please make sure you're tipping your bartender. I was like, I've known people before at different venues I've done shows at where the bands will get their free drinks and they will not drop a dime to the bartender after drinking like 10 or 15 drinks.
Who raised those people?
I don't know. Fucking assholes. I was like, but like, I was like, I just feel like, I'm sorry I have to say this.
I mean, I think a lot of times it does just slip the mind, because they're just like, you don't ever have to pull out your wallet if you have a free drink, so that you don't even think to do it. I get it. It happens. But most people are pretty good about it. Most people, if they know they're getting free drink tickets for whatever reason, they'll like throw a tip on the bar, like maybe like a full $5 or $10 immediately, and be like, there's your tip. I'll just drink what I drink. It's fine.
And I tend to tip in advance.
Yeah.
I screwed up this Friday. I had a show at El Dorado, and I was getting my drinks, and I think it's Matt or Charles. I always forget his name. I'm an asshole. He always starts off the night, and then like Jordan takes over, and I normally tip Matt in advance because I know he's going to be gone by the end of the night.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't know if they pull tips or not. I don't know what the situation is. So on the off chance they don't pull tip, I mean, I guess I could ask. I usually tip him in advance, and somehow I got distracted. I was like getting my first drink, and then I had to help carry some stuff in, and then I like, yeah. But I did tip at the end of the night, and I was like, I did only tip the last bartender, so I felt kind of like...
He probably recognized that you make a habit of doing this and was like, oh, he'll get me next time.
Yeah, so...
Like, what slip-ups happen. Like, I know for a fact I've walked out of my own bar without tipping my coworker before, and I will immediately get home and text and be like, fuck, I forgot to tip you. I'll see you tomorrow.
So, having been a server, do you find that, like, you're a heavy tipper, even, like, especially when you visit your own place and it's your own coworkers? For sure,
yeah. No,
it's like, you think you can get a discount, but it doesn't matter because you tip so much that it does...
literally. Wash. Yeah. I do get a fat discount at almost every bar I go to, which is sick. But I do end up tipping literally the exact amount of money I would have paid. It's like as if I paid my bill, but I didn't tip on it. That's how much money I'm spending anyway. But yeah, no, I've been yelled at on several occasions by like friends of mine who are like, you are over tipping in an uncomfortable manner. And I'm like, I don't.
That's good. That's good. As you said, everyone treats you well. It's like it's interesting. I'm listening to Kathleen Hanna from Bikini Kill's book, and like I get it. You know, I turned 16 in '91, and I'm listening to just the amount of sexism that they experienced, and I'm like, gosh, this is just. I mean, I guess that's what the '80s were really like. I mean, I certainly see it in the '80s movies and stuff, right? But like in my mind, I grew up in the DC scene, you know, Fugazi era. And for the most part, like, you know, I just can't imagine. Have you dealt with a lot of people like objectifying you, being like total? Oh, you're like, I was like, oh, see, like, I'm like, I just like, oh, that doesn't happen.
No, no. I mean, this is kind of an awful thing to say, but it's true though. The only like type of job where being objectified as a woman is a good thing is when you are a tipped employee.
Sure.
Because
I mean, that's why Hooters exists, right?
Yeah, it's like, exactly. Like, it's like, sure, it's super fucking annoying, whatever. Most of the time, I hate to say it's harmless, but it essentially is. It's just like, let the person run their mouth for 2 seconds, take their $25, they're going to leave in 5 minutes, don't worry about it. That's most of the time. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are definitely giant fucking weirdos and perverts who make everything weird in a very weird way. But most of them are just like fucking kids hitting on you. It's fine. Like,
yeah, it's such a fine line, right?
Yeah, especially like, I don't know, like the older crowd, you kind of just feel like it's a creepy uncle and you're like, whatever, I'll see you at Thanksgiving. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get it. And, you know, I just never got that. I mean, every now I worked in DC, and every now I'm being told by some very, very sexy gay man that I'm a bear. And I was like, I would love to be your bear, but it's like not in my cards. And I was like, I mean, I would certainly play it up if I thought I could get more tip out of them.
Yeah,
so I get
definitely. It. You gotta start wearing like a tip cup around your neck and see what happens.
So, have there been like any horrible disasters that you can recall where shit just hit the fan, PA blew up, band had a meltdown?
Oh yeah, our PA is not a reliable source of sound.
I brought in a PA. I hope they're bringing a PA on Saturday.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think it was for this Saturday actually. I think I might have told you this. 2 band members of some band that is playing Snappers either this past Sunday or this upcoming Saturday stopped in to check out the PA system last week. And so I brought them in the back. It was a man and a woman. And I thought at first they were this British couple. Well, one half the couple's British that I used to come in all the time. And I was so stoked to see them. And I was like, oh my God. And then it was just these 2 randos who were playing in one of the bands. And I was like, oh, now I look like I'm disappointed to see you because you're not the British guy I know. Whatever. But yeah, I brought them to the back. They touched the PA around and then they left. I don't know. But so hopefully that's for the 18th so they know the PA is shit.
I hope so. We used parts of your PA as additional monitors and whatnot, but like, you know, I brought in a really good PA, so.
Yeah, but to answer the question you actually asked me, disasters at shows. Yeah, our PA system sucks. So like a lot of times people are like, I either can't use that, don't know how to use that, it's not working, something like that. That happens probably like 60% of any kind of performance we have going on. Other than that, I don't know. Shows are usually some of the behaviorally and like, I don't know, psychically most behaved situations we can have at Snappers. Snappers is so unpredictably, I don't know, both good and evil. So you never really know which one you're going to get. But when there's a show going on, there's something to center all that energy into and it's less chaotic. But yeah, normally it's totally fine. We did have a weird show there last year. I have no idea why the show was going on or who was even playing. I don't know. But there was like 3 or 4 different huge groups who came into Snappers on a Friday or Saturday night. And it was a bunch of bands playing. And there was like a wedding. So everyone's dressed to the nines. And then there was like somebody had this giant teddy bear that was like 4 or 5 feet tall. Did you see this? Were you there? Okay. It was a mosh pit with a guy at a giant teddy bear, a bunch of people in suits. There's like Alan and Willie were there. So they were in their like punk shit. And it was just like this blend of like 17 different walks of life in a mosh pit together. And that was a very cool show. I have no memory of when that happened.
This happened somewhere in the last 4 years.
Yes, there's a video of it on our Instagram somewhere. I want to say the Dead Unicorns were playing. Is that a band? Did I get to say that?
It is a band, yes. It is a band,
I want to say they were playing.
I believe that's a band, yes. I think I saw them in Tubby's during a Top Rank show.
Okay, yeah, because they definitely played Snappers at one point. I think they're the ones who posted the video about it. But yeah, it's the most like diverse looking chaos mosh pit of people. People in suits in a mosh pit is like the funniest thing.
That's fucking great. I love that. So like when you do have shows, is it usually just like a local band that convinces the owners to do it, or do you work with a lot of promoters like myself? Like who?
You are our one and only.
I am your one and only. Oh, I'm special.
Yeah, no, because before when we had the old owner, Travis, he sold it like a year and a half ago or whatever. We didn't have an Instagram, we didn't have an active Facebook, like we don't have a phone in the bar. We just didn't have the internet as far as Snappers was concerned.
Yes.
And honestly, at the time, we didn't have Wi-Fi and the service in there sucks. There wasn't much internet at all. So like he just took care of it by like word of mouth or would make a flyer or something. because they were always like friends of his, because
Yeah.
from most of them off of his record label to my knowledge. So like he just took care of it. I don't know. But with these guys, we're just like, you were there when they bought the place, essentially. Like you were around when that happened.
Yep, I
so
was there.
You were the only person that wanted the job. And you're
I kept asking. I kept asking.
I know. And it's worked out for everyone. So
I
a
was
while.
persistent. I was like, I can do this. I was like, I'm not going to half-ass it. I promise you.
Yeah, no. It's impossible to get them to talk to anybody.
I get it. I mean, they have their own thing. They have other bars and stuff like that. And, you know, it's shows, nothing, or like you're not a sports bar. So,
yeah.
You know, you have DJs sometimes, though, right?
Yeah, DJs are a very new thing to Snappers. DJs were not a thing until the new owners took over like a year and a half ago.
And how does that tend to work for you guys?
So I think that we originally started with a DJ for emo night. I think that was the first one we did. I might be wrong about that. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, so that was already, it was like a easier transition, because instead of like live bands, it was like emo nights. So it's like, it's still alternative music, but it gets really poppy at points. So from there, we just started having like more theme night party events. And so, yeah, we had the Lady Gaga night. We had, what was the other one? Oh, I had like a psychedelic thing, but it was just my personal playlist, to be honest with you. I was just on mushrooms and made a playlist and called it psychedelic. But I made a DJ play it for me all night, so that's okay.
So I know you all get to like interact as bartenders on the social media, both to like respond to things, but also to post like, "Hey, I'm here.
Yeah, hey, come see me.
Hey, come see me." How much influence do you get on like what happens in the evenings, whether it's DJs or shows, like as a bartender?
So for the most part, they just give us free reign to make up as many ideas as we want. And we present them like a little pitch, usually via text message. And we're like, hey, what do you think about this odd idea? And they either answer us or don't. If they don't answer us, that means don't ask me again. It's probably not going to happen. Or if they do answer us, they tell us, okay, well, do you want a DJ? Do you want a live band? They have us like figure out everything on our own. And they're like, all right, here's the money you're allotted for that event. Go do it. And that's what I think
that's probably pretty rare for most bars, right? To get the bartenders that level of ability.
Yeah, I mean, like, sometimes they'll have ideas of their own and like pass it down to whoever's bartending that shift, essentially, is in charge of the event. For the most part, some of the events were made up by other bartenders who just like didn't work that day, but they were hosting it which just means, you drink whiskey in the corner and watch everyone get hammered. But I mean, that's what you do behind the bar too, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. I've definitely seen you all do the shots for shots with people, and always makes me think of like Bar Rescue, where he'd be like, "No, bartenders don't drink." I'm like, if Snapper Magees didn't drink, that would bother me.
Yeah, if nobody at Snappers drank, it would be a very, very boring place with a lot more rules, I think.
Yeah, no, I think the lack of rules is kind of like part of the benefit of the place.
Yeah, well, I always tell anyone who pisses me off there, I'm like, we have like 4 rules maybe. How did you possibly break one? Like, it's like impossible to do something horrible in Snappers unless you actively try to.
Yes, you have to like really be a fucktard.
And also, yeah, like the people who work there, we all think everything is funny. Things that are not funny, we think is very funny. So it's really hard to piss us off. It's not an easy task.
That is awesome. So, like, do you charge for the DJ shows too? Like, do you guys get door money? Do the bartenders get any of that?
Depending on the event. I think for maybe New Year's or something, if it's like a holiday, they might charge the door. Yeah. Or it can be like Kevy DJ Human is one of our DJs that we use a lot, and like a lot of times he'll do a benefit of some kind, so he'll like charge like a suggested price towards a donation at the door. But for the most part, yeah, the bosses just pay out whatever the DJ costs, and they usually get a couple beers out of it, maybe a shot or two, and then that's about it.
Okay, makes sense.
But yeah, no, usually the only time I've ever seen people charge the door at Snappers is for live bands, I think. Personally, anyway. I didn't work any of the...
No, that makes sense. I mean, people are used to paying for live bands. It's kind of like the normal way to go. Like, pay to go to DJ places, but...
Yeah, I mean, like, if I happen to be somewhere and I'm about to walk in a bar and they're like, hey, stop, today costs $5 because I said so. I'm not going to leave. I'm just going to give you the $5 and walk in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine, like, working there, you've got to have a couple of people that come in that are regulars. They're like, hey, I'm just coming in here to drown my sorrows.
Oh, yeah.
And my Snapper special.
I mean, like, I don't collect the money at the door, so like I really have no personal like pull on who gets in the door for free, to be honest with you. But I imagine whoever is working the door that night, usually most people who work at the door know who our regulars are, so they'll be like, all right, you come through. Maybe, honestly, I don't know. Maybe they don't. I think most people who do who are regulars there though are more likely to not argue with paying $5 at the door though, because they're like respectful of the bar and they're like, yo, today you want to charge me $5? Here, take $5.
Yeah,
Makes
take
your life
five.
easier.
It helps you have your events and things like that.
Yeah, I think most of our regulars wouldn't think twice to just pay it.
And I kind of look at it as like, if you get 30 people, like you mentioned, you had like something and there were like 30 people showed up. But you might say, well, that's not a very good night, but it's 30 people that wouldn't have been there. Right?
Yeah, and also like Snappers isn't a huge bar. It only holds like 70 people, I think.
Oh, I'm aware.
Yeah. It only holds 70 people on paper, but you can definitely put more in there.
I mean, we had more than enough, and then you throw in all the merch tables that we had and everything like that.
No, I saw the one video of it was like somebody opening the door and showing the table, and I didn't realize there was gonna be so much merch. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I see now why you wanted to cover the foosball table.
Yes, the foosball table was absolutely necessary. Well, you have 5 bands; they all have their merch, and I have my merch. So it's all like trying to make sure that everyone gets a little something. Like I spent a lot of money on this show, but I also sold like 20 records.
Did the bands have fun? Did they like Snappers, the ones from out of town?
Bands loved it.
Nice.
They loved it. And like, the one band, Alliteration, had been around 10 years in Hudson Valley, and they had, in 10 years, never played Kingston.
Wow.
And
how is that possible? We used to have BSP here.
I have no idea. And they were here, and, people rolled in, even though they were playing last, wearing their Alliteration t-shirts, stayed for the whole show. Lake Neunier from New York City, they had like 6 people drive from Jersey to come up for their show.
Wow.
Power Up, the ska band from Western Mass. I had a kid walk in and shake my hand and go, "Thank you for bringing ska to the Hudson Valley." He's like, "I was at your Keep Flying show in Snugs, and I got your tickets to your Big D show at the Unicorn Bar. Thank you so much. No one does this." And he was emphatic. He's like, "Can I buy a record too?" I was like, "Can I go pee first?" I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead."
Pure ska king. I love him.
Oh, I was like, my heart was like right there. So
it's like when the Grinch's heart grows like 5
Yeah,
seconds.
I was just like, my night is made. Like the kid walked in like at 4:15. The doors opened at 4. He's like all ready to go and Scott out with his ska like beanie on, and I'm like, oh, it's so
fucking adorable. Oh my god, I love it. That is one of my favorite things about events at the bar is like people really like when you have a theme to it, whether it's a genre of music or it's a literal theme, like we did a Always Sunny in Philadelphia costume night. Like when people really go out for the theme, that is like my favorite thing, which is ironic because I never do. I'm always very half-assed about all the themes, even if I make them up. But I love when other people put effort into stuff.
And that's great when you can do like you have a good punk show with good theme. There was actually a circle pit. How often do you see mosh pit? Snappers is not that big.
It's
like
you
mentioned one. Like how often did the mosh pits go off the hook? Like do they like have people?
I've never seen anyone do what are they called, like a death circle or whatever the fuck.
We had the circle pits going on.
Yeah, circle pits. I don't often see those just because usually people are moshing. It's so small of a space that there's not a lot of room. So if you start doing circles, you're blocking the bathroom hallway and all sorts of shit.
They were doing it.
I like it. I'm here for the party, but it's definitely like a more difficult space to work with. But yeah, no, I think the only time I've ever really seen a mosh pit go hard, like super hard, was that time with the guy with the giant teddy bear and the people in the suits. People were going fucking ham that day. But yeah, no, I've never seen it go awry, so that's good. I don't think I've ever even seen anyone get hurt there during a mosh pit even.
Yeah, it was very respectful. There wasn't any the crowd killing. Crowd killing is not inherently my favorite, but especially in a small venue where there's no space to move. Yeah, it's like, okay. So. Yeah,
and like also that is exactly it makes sense people are moshing in that space because like that's exactly right in front of the stage.
Yeah,
that's also where people play darts, and if whatever band is performing has like a smaller crowd watching them, people will play darts around them anyway. So I'm like, you're just gonna hit someone in the face with a dart. You're gonna literally take out their entire eyeball and pop it like an olive on a toothpick. Like,
it's funny. I forget who it was. I think it might have been. Brittany was like, oh, that space to the left of the stage, or that's that bench. People often put merch there. I was like, oh, no, we're going to have too many people. People are going to need to be standing there. And they're like, you think so? I was like, if I did this right, then yes. Like, that space is not going to be for merch.
I mean, it does get very, very crowded and tight up there when, like, big, more popular shows happen, for sure. It's like elbow to a fucking elbow just to, like, get into the bathroom, yeah.
Yes, I mean, the ladies' room, I've been in there only to hang a poster. Yeah. Much more spacious than the men's room. I mean, it's...
Our toilets, because we go through a new one every 4 months somehow, are not attached to the floor most days.
Okay, yeah.
And they are crooked to the stall wall. So like when you sit, you're like sitting halfway to the left. It's really strange. But yeah, every 3 to 4 months, somebody rips the toilet off the ground, smashes it into a million pieces, or like the toilet like lid. That'll just be every single weekend somebody rips that off, I would say. Every other weekend, maybe. At some point, we had a graveyard of toilets in the basement. It was over 15 toilets. And,
That's terrible.
Yeah, it was. I think it was probably we called it the Museum of Toilets. So I'd like literally bring people downstairs and be like, "Look at the weird basement. Look
That's
at our
fucking
weird
crazy.
toilets."
And that reminds me, gosh, it had to be over 20 years ago. I was playing CBGBs. So the night before we had played New Jersey, and we met this punk kid at the show. Said, hey, great show. I was like, thanks. We're playing New York City tomorrow. We're actually playing twice. We're playing a squad called ABC No Rio in the afternoon, and then hitting CBGBs that night. And the kid rolled up at the ABC show, and then asked if he could get a ride with us to the CBGB show. I was like, sure. And they're like, you have any guests? It's like, well, most put this kid on the guest list. He came to see us twice already. This is his third time in, 24 hours. Let the fucker in. Well, he smashed the fucking toilet at CBGB's, and they caught him doing it, and they refused to pay us, and were threatening to ban us because our friend did this. Like, I don't even know this kid's name.
God.
I was like, you fucker.
What a shithead.
I was like, you fucking, why are you doing this?
Oh my God, what a shithead.
Yeah, what a shithead. I still don't know his name, but I'm like, fuck you, you fucking...
There has to be a word for whatever disorder gets in a drunk person's head where they want to rip a toilet off the floor, because this is not an uncommon occurrence.
But why the toilet? Like,
I
it's
don't know.
Gross, it's disgusting. I don't even want to why do you want to put your hands on the fucking toilet and rip it off?
You know, like, when you pull your hair out, it's called trichotillomania. There should be a word like that for ripping a toilet out. Like, because it's way too common. It's not just like a one-off.
Yeah.
This has been a theme in every bar I think I've worked at. There's always been a toilet ripping off problem.
Has anyone tried to rip those urinals look like kegs?
Those
anyone tried to rip those off?
They can't be ripped off.
They can't be ripped off?
They can't be ripped off.
I can
That's why
barely
they're
slide
there.
past them.
Well, they're there because there used to be real urinals, and then people kept ripping them off. So the old owner was like, fine, fuck you guys. I'm going to put a keg on the wall. I'm going to cut a hole into it, not sand it, so you cut your dick every time you take a leak. And it's bolted into the wall with, I don't know, a force stronger than gravity. It's not coming off.
And there's literally a space of like 4 inches between those and the sink.
Yeah.
So if there's two people pissing, and you want to and you want to go to the urinal for it, like you can't slide by.
Yeah, and also like I'm pretty
shoving
sure
them into the urinal.
I don't know if it's every day, but I know there are multiple times a week, a lot of times, where the only stall in the men's room, the door doesn't exist or it doesn't close or something. So like there's a dude taking a shit with the door open, and you got two dudes taking a piss.
Yep.
You're like already two dudes too deep in that small ass bathroom.
It's no bueno. Like I bought all the band's pizza, and one of them was like, I'm not vegan, but I'm lactose intolerant, but I can suck it up. I was like, you don't want to have stomach issues at Snappers. This is not a place where you need to run and like drop a deuce.
No, whenever like people like need to use the bathroom like really bad at Snappers, I'm like, if it's a dude and there's not really that many women around, I'm like, use the women's room. It's way easier. It's way better. No one's gonna know. It's fine.
Yep.
We probably won't see a girl in here till 6 p.m. anyway.
It's so fascinating how much better, like, El Dorado Bar in Troy.
Yeah.
The ladies' room is spacious. They have like a comfy seat and mirrors and light. Even at Snugs and New Paltz, it's like a prison toilet for the dudes.
Yeah.
It's just a metal bowl. There's not even a seat on there.
Right, there isn't,
would never
right?
shit in
Yeah,
it. No.
yeah.
No. And I'm like, the door doesn't lock. Like, it's fucking like, no. I will never. But I guess it's just, like, you go to big shows and the women are always waiting in the lines to get on the ladies' room.
Yeah, you need more, well...
So this is the reverse. At a dive bar, the ladies usually have clean toilets and the guys are fucked.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, the girls didn't make the mess in the men's room. The men did.
Oh, no, we make it. Oh, no, it's absolutely us. It's absolutely us. I remember that I was on tour and we were in Austria, I think it was, and they had co-ed bathrooms. We're talking 2001, 2002. Yeah. So co-ed bathrooms for Americans was
It's pretty woke.
Pretty woke, right? And we're like, what the fuck is that? And of course, we don't speak Austrian. And I guess some of the stalls, the bathroom was co-ed, but some stalls were dedicated for men and some for women. And my bass player kept trying to go into the wrong stall. These women kept yelling at him. And he didn't know what he was doing wrong. And he really had to shit, but they just kept telling him, no, no, no. And he's like, I don't understand. It's a co-ed bathroom. What am I doing wrong? And he wound up like leaving and then going outside. And he had grabbed some paper towels. And he had taken a shit in the ground instead. And then wiped his ass with some paper towels and then buried it.
That's incredible. I love everything about that.
I was like, So many bathroom stories in Europe. They make you pay to go to most bathrooms. Like there's an attendant to get in, and you have to pay.
Yeah, you like put like a coin in there or whatever, right? Yeah, I remember being probably like 6 or 7, so it was like late 90s, maybe 2000, and I was at Coney Island. And I remember I had to put a dime to get in the bathroom while I was already on like in the amusement park. And I remember in that moment being like, "What if I just took a shit on the floor right here? What are they gonna do about it?"
What are they doing?
Yeah, and I had the 10 cents. It was no big deal. I did it. I paid it. I went to the bathroom, but I just remember being like, "Are they gonna yell at a 7-year-old for shitting themselves in an amusement park, or can they just let me in the fucking bathroom? Like, what's wrong with you?" Ridiculous.
That's like when I go to like, sometime in my teens, I went to a show and they had like a bathroom guy in there with paper towels and cologne and spritzers. And I'm like, I piss, and he's like, wants to like spray soap into my hands for me and hand me a paper towel and tip him. I was like, nah, I
don't need assistance, man.
I don't need assistance. I'm not buying your cologne or your condoms. I'm out of here.
Yeah. You know what? I am very happy that I've always had the experience of having a bar bathroom for a girl, because men's bathroom is not a fun place. It's just a dirty place. You go in, you go out, and you're done. The worst you're going to see is a bunch of people doing cocaine off the back of a toilet tank. Like,
all the time.
Whatever. The girls' room is in every single bar or venue I've ever been to. It's just fun. You make a best friend for 5 minutes. You don't know their name. You learn all about their trauma and how they hate their mom. And then you go back out in the bar and you never talk to them again. It's like the equivalent of making a cigarette friend for 10 minutes, but it's just so feminine energy run, and it's fantastic.
Most men rooms not always smell, but they tend to only have cold water, and then there's usually no soap.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, it's fine. That's why I don't flush the toilet, because I don't want to touch anything, because I know I can't wash my hands. So it's like, all right, so be it. This is the way it's going to roll.
The sink we have in the men's room right now, I think we only got that like a year ago or so. And I remember, like, I came into work and all the old men in the morning were like, "Oh my God, Eva, they redid the men's room. They redid the men's room." And I was like, "What do you mean they redid the men's room?" And I go in there, I'm like, "I don't even see what's going on. What are you guys talking about?" And they're like, the sink." And I'm like, "Is that new?" Like, I didn't think of it as new. I was just like, it still looks like shit.
I'm so excited for a sink.
But they acted like we got brand new renovations. We have this new shiny sink, and yeah, it looks better than the last one, I guess. But I didn't notice. That's awesome. Just the standard, I guess, for a dive bar bathroom.
I mean, so you're a bartender. Do you have to clean up afterwards? You have to sweep and mop and clean the toilet?
No, we have a porter. You can pay me enough to clean those bathrooms, or honestly, or the rest of the bar. That's insane. But no, we have a porter. He comes in. Geronimo, shout out to Geronimo. He's been doing that job for probably like 15 plus years now. He comes in every day at like somewhere between 6:30 and 9:30 in the morning. I don't know how long it takes him. They pay him weekly, and he cleans up after all of us. When we close up at night, all we really have to do is, like, I don't know, wipe shit down, do the dishes, clean the sinks out, take the trash out. That's about it.
That sounds much better.
Yeah, I mean, we have to put like beer away and stuff. But,
I mean, I worked in restaurants, and in restaurants, they always made the servers clean the bathrooms.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was a server at a restaurant for a very long time. And yeah, no, my one job, I remember my boss saw me like basically doing nothing because we were slow.
Yeah.
And she's like, "All right, we'll do some side work." I'm like, "I did all the side work." And she's like, "Okay, well, here." And it literally handed me a toothbrush and pointed at the fridge the kitchen uses that I've never been inside of my life. And she's like, "I need you to pull that fridge out and scrub the tile underneath it." And I was like, "I need you to pay me $30 more an hour, and maybe I'll think about it." And then I got to go home early that day.
Yeah, I know that's how it should go. I mean, I used to manage coffee shops, and I would make people scrub like the mop sink and the baseboard. You had to scrub the mop sink; it would get filthy and gross. And
I would imagine.
But I never asked them to do anything that I also didn't do myself.
Right.
So that was always my thing. I was like, I put myself on the cleaning list, and it was like a weekly checklist. And I gave myself the same. I'm going to clean the milk fridge. The milk fridge smells like sour milk. It's disgusting to put your head in there. Yeah. But, you got to do it. It's got to be clean because, well.
Yeah, I was my serving job. I was also a barista and a bartender. We had 3 jobs at once.
Oh, that's no good.
So we had a milk fridge that we often had to fucking deal with also.
And you know what it smells? It smells like rancid ass shit.
Oh my God, one time, I just remembered this for the first time in like 8 years. I had a manager who was breastfeeding at the time. Oh, no. And so she would keep her milk in a mason jar in the milk fridge.
Oh, no.
And she labeled it human juice. And so I did not know that. I just saw, and I thought it was coconut milk. And I 100% made a person human breast milk latte. But before I handed it to this person, I was about to hand it to this person, my boss who was breastfeeding at the time. She's like, "Did you make that with that?" And I was like, "Yes, coconut milk." She's like, "We don't have coconut milk." And I was like, "Oh no." So the person did not drink it, but I did try to serve it to him. I got caught like seconds.
You got caught. Good for you.
And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. But you know what? In Woodstock, they would love it. That's where I worked, Woodstock. So I'm sure.
No, Woodstock would be like,
yeah, they'd be like, wow.
Like, there's nothing more organic.
You know, this is why we come upstate on the weekends.
Yeah, so that kind of gets like the Snappers crowd. Like, how much of it is the transplanted Brooklynites? Because I've heard people call Kingston Little Brooklyn. Yeah, I know. And let's be fair, I'm a transplant. I live right outside of Kingston, but sure. I'm not a New York City transplant, and I didn't move here to run
well,
from the
that's
pandemic.
what I always tell everybody, because I was born and raised in Kingston, so I've watched it get fucking taken over by fucking billionaires and shit. It sucks. It sucks so much. But I have plenty of friends who are not from here, or they're from out of state or whatever. If you come to any town, anywhere in the world, just to move there and like live your life, you're not like going out there buying houses, flipping them into Airbnbs and like ruining everyone's fucking life. I don't give a shit where you live. Live in my neighborhood. Cool. Just act like a normal person. Like, but if you have like ill intent, yeah, get the fuck out. I don't want you here.
No. I came here and said, I want to start a band, I want to do shows, and I want to play music.
Yeah, you literally are providing music and like arts to the community that you moved to. That's what you're supposed to do. like
to enhance it and make it better.
You're creating a sense of community in a community that welcomed you. You know what I mean? So it all goes around in a circle. That's how you're supposed to move to places. But most people at Snappers, I guess it's like a 50-50, because some people have lived in Kingston for maybe like 10 years, but they're like 50, so like they're not technically from Kingston, but they lived here long enough that I'm like, yeah, you count now, it's fine.
You count.
So
now.
like, yeah, I mean, most of it's locals. On the weekends, you're more likely to get out of towners, like taking like a weekend upstate or whatever. That's more of a summer and fall thing too, because like in the fall we have all the festivals, and like the Woodstock Film Festival, we have the Autumn Festival,
the O Positive Festival.
Yeah, we have so many in the summer, and like it's the wedding venues right around the corner too.
So how come you never participate as a venue for that stuff, right? Like I've gone to 3 O Positive festivals, and you're not a venue, and there's so many venues that are part of it, Keegan Ales, et cetera, et cetera. Why don't you participate?
I mean, I don't want to get this incorrect, but from what I understand, the previous owner had some kind of beef with O Positive not representing alternative music as much as it could, and therefore there was less room for like local bands to have a space to fill, I guess. So he was making that choice not to work with O Positive. I know that. I'm not sure why we did it this past year, though.
I mean, when I came up that first time, it was because Tsunami Bomb was playing, and their punk band has been around for like 15, 20 years. And I know the one member, Ubalette, lives in like Phoenicia, and the others from California. And then I think brought Scott Pository up from Long Island, and I went up putting up the record, and like. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm a DIY punk guy. Do I wish they had more punk rock?
Yeah.
Sure. But is there a lot of underground musicians, comedians, and poets there?
Yeah. And also, like, it's such a huge festival at O Positive. Yeah. It needs, like, the draw to the average person, not just the average person who goes to Snappers. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you need a wider net to cast, and you can't do that with music that can be alienating to certain ears. You know what I mean? I think I don't know why we didn't participate last year, to be honest. I know we had bands play that weekend on Friday and Saturday night.
I saw that, yes.
Yeah, you were at one of the shows, right?
Yep, I was at one of them.
I remember I bartended for the Friday night show, and then I don't think I went to the Saturday night show. Oh no, I was working my other job that night. I couldn't go. But yeah, that was the same weekend as O Positive, but it was not directly associated with O Positive.
Okay. I mean, just seems like a natural fit.
I think so too. I also don't really understand O Positive because I always have to work it every single year.
Sure.
Like, not for the festival, but I have to bartend during the festival. So I never really get to participate in any of the events anyway. So like I feel like I have no idea what's going on. I'm just there serving drinks to everybody.
Everyone
what are you guys doing?
Like Lara Hope, she's the one that I think is in charge of it, runs it. She's Lara Hope in the Arctones. She's playing Snappers with her band Tiger Piss in March. Super nice, super kind. Like, they give out free medical to all the musicians.
Yeah, they do. I know they teach Narcan training during O Positive Festival often. They hand out free Narcan to all the bars and restaurants, from my knowledge. I think there's also an option to learn CPR or first aid or something like that. They give you that option.
They give literal free exams. Like if you need an OBGYN, you need a dental, they give free healthcare to the musicians.
Yes. Yeah. To any kind of artist who participates. Yeah.
All right. So I'm doing a 2-day event at Snappers in April, and Like, I might have 8 bands on that Saturday that I'm doing. And I'm like, I'm not sure where I'm going to find all the space. What about that space next door? What is that space? It used to be the wine place and it burned.
Yeah, it used to be the wine and liquor store, and then it got caught fire, and then that went out of, well, it didn't go to business, but it moved around the corner.
Yeah.
And then for a long time, there was some local artists who were painting it and stuff, and it was looking kind of cool graffiti-wise. And then I believe the building got purchased, I think.
Okay.
And so now nobody really knows what's going there, but it's definitely purchased by somebody. Like just yesterday, I noticed there's a giant sign on the front door. It's now padlocked, and it says something like, "If you see anybody like fucking with this building, call this number and report it." Like, it's this huge sign too, and so it's, I don't know, I have no idea what's going on.
So I was like, oh, I'd love to just take that abandoned space and go in there and set up a whole bunch of tables for the bands.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if they still do it, but you know Ramona Lane.
Yes.
They used to have practice upstairs, a couple doors down. I don't know exactly which building. I don't know who, if it was an apartment or what. But they used, that's how I met them. Every Tuesday they used to have practice, and before and after practice they would come into Snappers and hang out with me. But yeah, I haven't seen them go up there in a while. But I think they used to have a space up there, so maybe talk to them and see what they do.
I mean, maybe I can also just put things on the sidewalk outside. So
that's true. Yeah.
You know, like I'm not calling my thing a festival in those 2 days. I have this whole.
Oh yeah, it's April. It's not going to be like -13.
Yeah.
So.
I have an issue with calling anything a festival that's just at one venue for like
Fair
2
enough.
days.
Yeah, that makes
like
sense,
it's just a really long show.
Yeah.
Like a festival to me has to have vendors and food trucks and multiple
we do
locations.
The food truck occasionally at night.
Have
you had the food truck that's from Snappers before?
I've had the food truck when I was at a metal show there a little while back. I was hoping it would show up on my Sunday show, but it did not. But I guess I have to probably.
We can request that. He does. I can't make any promises, but we can always request. He likes to be told when Snappers is busy or is going to be busy, so he can make the choice to show up or not. During the summer, he's usually always out Friday and Saturday nights, but sometimes he's out by Snugs. Actually, he'll like park his car. His
I think he would have
there.
made money because people were, you know, even the bands after they ate all the pizza. I bought 4 pies from Ollie's, but that disappeared early on in the evening. And late at night, everyone was going to get the Chinese food. Not that I'm going to take any money from the Chinese food person. I'm just saying the food truck person might have brought some more money in.
Yeah, I've actually yesterday I have a customer, Momo, who's adorable, and she was telling me that she was at Snappers for the show for a bit after the show ended, and she was like helping pick up glasses and stuff, and she saw the pizza boxes and she commented on it, and she was like, I looked at those boys and I said, damn, you ate all that pizza by yourself? And I was like, okay, Momo.
I didn't even get any myself. By the time I went to go get some, I was like, I'm kind of hungry. I'd like to get some food. I was like, there's nothing here.
Nope, no.
And I went and dropped off Willie and Al, and I was like, guess who's running to Taco Bell?
Hell yeah. Taco Bell delivers. You can always get food delivered to Snappers. Nobody cares.
I have a whole issue with DoorDash and things like that. I won't use it.
I wish I didn't use it because I don't know. It seems like a bad idea in general, capitalism, whatever. But I don't have a car, and also I love food whenever I want it, so I need to be able to do that.
I was all prepared to have Ollie's deliver because they said on their website they delivered.
Right,
and then they told me they delivered via DoorDash. I was like, nope, I'll come and pick it up.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, DoorDash gets things wrong. It shows up late. It costs me more money. I was like, fuck you, DoorDash. Nope. You have let me down one too many times, DoorDash, and charged me for that letdown.
I order my groceries on DoorDash every Friday when I get paid. Every single Friday. I love grocery shopping. It's like my favorite thing to do. I literally, like, when it's not grocery shopping day, I will spend like an hour a day when I'm bored, like making my list for Friday, and then I'll edit it like 30 times a day until in anticipation to go grocery shopping. I did it yesterday while I was at work.
That's awesome. So speaking of DoorDash, like, you know, we've talked about this before. You know, Snappers is a drinking bar, but Uber is not super available in the area. Do you think that hinders your business at all? Because I would hang out there, like, I usually hang out there and have 3 beers and I'm done.
Right, yeah.
And you're like, you want more? It's like, nope, I've been here 2 hours, I've had 3 beers, any more than this, you know, and I'm out.
So before the pandemic, there was like 6 or 7 other bars in the neighborhood, including the venue. And B, there were way more Lyfts and Ubers available, and a lot of them would take cash if you just flagged them down like a cab. They'd drive in circles around the blocks until 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, every single day of the week. And then the pandemic hit, and all those bars had to close, and the venue closed. So now there's less people, so there's less Ubers and Lyft drivers, and so now there's less people.
Yep. Because I remember when I was at that first O Positive festival, and I was staying at the hotel way down past the circle, near where like the giant flag is near the car dealerships.
Oh,
I was
okay,
staying
yeah.
there, and I was walking from there to the O Positive festival. And that last Sunday night when I went to that show at Snappers, and I was like, man, it's getting kind of chilly. I'm kind of tired. I've been at this festival for 3 days. Let me get an Uber. And I think I walked all the way past the CVS before I finally got connected to an Uber. And I was like, do I even want to wait 15 minutes? Like, I can continue walking and just be home.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, no, there's a couple just people who run their personal car services essentially.
Yeah.
Who like leave their business cards at Snappers. So like if people cannot find an Uber, Kingston Cabs is closed, which they're also pretty unreliable anyway, and they take forever. I'll like give them these drivers cards and they can just like call them up, and they're not guaranteed to be available, but most of the time they are. And they're usually pretty quick and they're fast enough and they're the same price as all the other cars. So, but yeah, no, it's definitely. I think most people who were used to drinking at Snappers before the lack of Lyfts and Ubers continue to drink at Snappers pretty much as frequently, but then, there's like a 30% uptick in DWIs.
Yep. Like, do you think that would help like show attendance though if there were Ubers available?
Yeah.
Like it was just one of those things that would help people get out.
Yeah, and like people don't want to be stuck uptown either because there's no parking there's no free parking anywhere unless it's a Sunday come the next day.
Which is also the other benefit of doing Sunday matinees is the parking's free.
Yeah, the parking is free and there's less traffic.
We had to do a couple of like double parking, which everyone double parks in Front Street.
Oh, so you could like unload and stuff.
And load stuff in and get them to go on to the next thing. So
yeah. I mean, that street is so small, that whole neighborhood is. So like anytime anyone has to do delivery of any sort, there's like, I think it's Fridays or maybe it's Mondays. There's like every single place on the block is getting a delivery for their restaurant or bar. So it's like you'll see like 4 or 5 like Mack trucks double parked up and down this tiny skinny fucking one way. And it's just a mess in there. So I think, taking 10 minutes to unload your van is probably not the end of the world.
No. And it's essential. You have to have music, which brings us back to like the whole thing, right? Like you're a bartender at a dive bar and really it's just 4 walls and some stickers and a jukebox machine. Yeah. Without you, without Terry, without Foss, without Brittany, like there isn't actually without Vic. There's not really a Snappers. It's just
a place.
It's just a place. You're the one that made me want to do the stuff that I'm doing there, right? Like, you being a bartender, like, do you recognize how vital your role is as part of like making a venue where people and bands feel welcome?
Yeah, I think that's just true of bartending in general. I think a lot of the job is your personality. Like it's the definition of being a personality hire. Like because you need your personality to make sales. I mean, I really don't try to make sales. I know it's alcohol. People just buy it on their own. You don't really have to push it. But like if your personality is just, you have to like get the morale up, you need to be like a party in a box kind of thing, or you get to be the therapist or whatever it is. But a lot of times it just feels like natural conversation. But that could just be because, I don't know, that's who I am. I feel a lot of people I know who like worked in kitchens for their whole life. I'm always like, why don't you work in the front of house? Like you're a cool person. Like you make way more money at a way easier job. But they're just like, I would rather shoot myself in the skull than talk to a person for money. And I'm like, that's insane.
Which
I can't stop talking.
Because it matters so much to me. Like my band just did a reunion show at the Auto Bar in Baltimore. And we dedicated one of the songs to Trish, who was our bartender at the sidebar 20 years ago.
Wow.
Because her being there and Meredith and the way they treated us as bands and as patrons made us love playing there. If they were unkind to us or rude or short or just had no personality, just gave us our drinks, I don't know that I would have loved the bar as much.
No, yeah.
I would be like, oh yeah, it's a nice place to see shows, I guess, but like no one's engaging with me and making me feel like I belong.
Yeah, no, I think that's something a lot of people say about Snappers when they first like become a regular. They really like the sense of community amongst people. People are usually pretty welcoming to others, especially if you're like, you just are there every day all of a sudden. They're like, who's this new guy in class? You know what I mean? I guess he's going to stick around. We might as well talk to him. And I think a lot of people really like that about Snappers. I have met so many people that I like talk to on a daily basis in Snappers. I asked for a divorce in Snappers. I have had so many moments in Snappers. Snappers is the only bar I've ever been 86 from.
Wow.
I was 86 there on Sunday nights for 3 months when I was 23. And
you just said it's very hard to break the rules in Snappers since it's only 4, so you must have done something.
It was a Sunday night. and I drank way too much. And I was puking in the toilet, which at the time was like a daily occurrence. That was not the problem. But the problem was that I drank way too much, so I couldn't stop puking. And then, so this went on for like an hour. At this point, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. The bartender wanted to go home an hour ago, and I can't stop puking. My friends are trying to get me toast from the diner. He's getting impatient. And at some point, I'm like, okay, fine. I'll get up. I'll just get out the door. I'll just deal with, as long as I'm out, because I want him to be able to close up. I couldn't stand up because my feet and my legs had fallen asleep.
Jeez.
So I can't stand at all. And I'm way too hammered to understand that about myself. So I try to keep falling. I think I peed on the floor at some point.
Oh.
It was like a mess. And then, yeah, eventually the bartender was like, I need to call an ambulance if you don't leave now. It's 6:30 in the morning. And so eventually my friend did pick me up and literally carry me home in a blizzard. Yeah, I tried to come back the next Sunday, and the bartender was like, no, take a 3-month break. We're not doing this.
No, I get that. So how often do you have to deal with people that are overly intoxicated? Because I have to imagine it gets hard to tell, and because the line is specials or shots, right? Like those can hit you really fast.
Yeah. I mean, as obliterated as I was in that story I just told, not very often, to be honest. It comes close. People get to the line pretty frequently. I think the hardest part about telling is, you can never tell people are on drugs or not, so you can't tell if they're actually that drunk or they're just tweaking out for 10 minutes, or you think they're more sober than they are because they're on drugs. But a lot of times the people who get way too drunk are secretly trying to drink booze out of their pocket in the bathroom is what's going on. So, like, I don't know, like, I think I do an okay job of not over-serving people. I'm pretty on top of it most times. But yeah, I'll like wonder why this guy over here is asleep for the last hour and I can't get him up. But then I'll find like a half-drank bottle of like some kind of shitty booze in the bathroom. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
And you have no idea how much they might have had.
Yeah, exactly.
Before they got to you. I
think most of the time I like, unless someone's a real dick to me, if I have to cut them off, I'm usually pretty quiet about it. I don't make a show of it. I will start by like quietly and like completely silently just shoving a water in front of them and like being like, there you go. Like, they'll get the message. And if they don't drink it, then I'll be like, I need you to drink that before you get anything else, and then we can talk about it. Most of the time the answer's still no, but you got to give them a slice of hope so they actually will drink the water.
No, that makes perfect sense. So
one of my favorite things to do when someone's really drunk is spray them in the face with a soda gun. I don't get to do it very often because of where the soda gun is at Snappers. But my old bar, we had one in every corner. So I could just, but it's so much fun spraying a sleeping person.
That's
also
hilarious.
Throwing ice at people when they're sleeping.
Sure, that makes perfect sense. Like,
it helps.
You got to protect your own, like, protect their lives, protect lives outside of there. You got to, like, maintain your own thing. So, that's such a balance to have to manage all that while also not cutting people off prematurely so they get pissed off.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure happens as well, where people get pissed.
Most people who get cut off and are dicks about it are only being a dick because they are so drunk. So they probably should have been cut off anyway. Some people, I can't remember a time where I like cut someone off prematurely. And I was like, I made a guess and I was wrong about how drunk they were. I can't remember a time I've done that, but maybe they just left and they didn't argue with me. I don't know. But yeah, most people who need to like a loud cutoff or they're being giant assholes about it, they should have been cut off probably 2 drinks ago.
Probably. Yeah. And that's what I was like, at the show, there was someone who tried to come in that Willie was working the door with Alan, and he knew who this person was, and this person has been...
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and apparently they harass women fairly frequently, and I've heard even...
They're a problematic person on the scene.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that person in a very long time either. They used to be around more often.
And I don't know this person at all. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know you, but I know Willie. I've known Willie since I moved here, and I trust Willie. Willie's a kind-hearted
He is.
man.
He's really nice. I like Willie a lot.
And if he says that you have been a problem towards women, I am not playing with that. And the guy actually sent me a message over Facebook saying how unpunk rock I was.
A loser.
And I'm like, I haven't even responded.
How punk rock is it to message somebody over Facebook, Karen? Like, shut up.
Yeah, I'm like, I was like, I don't even have the energy to respond to you. I was like, because I don't get in tit for tats on technology. Like, I'm too old for that shit. And I'm like, no, I don't do that. I was like, yeah, the beef is, I have no beef with you. I don't even know you.
Yeah.
Right?
What the fuck?
All I know is that I have had 3 or 4 people tell me that you have harassed women, and that one woman even has like a restraining order against you. I was like,
yeah. I remember when he was coming around more often, I could tell when he was drinking a little bit more than usual, he would get a little like flirty weird. Yeah. But I was like, is he being a creep or is he just drunk and trying to flirt and doing badly? I don't know. But then like over time, I started hearing more people be like, no, that guy's a fucking creep. Women hate him. We're all A, B, and C. Like, he's kicked out of this bar and that bar and this bar. And then all of a sudden I never saw him again. And then this past weekend, it's the first time I've heard of him in a while.
He bought the ticket online using a different name, Maybe used someone else's credit card, who knows? But I refunded his money, and I'm like, look, I'm sorry. I'm like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you want to come to shows, then you need to make amends with the women you've harassed. Like, I'm not part of that.
So a similar thing happened to Ariana Grande recently. She has this stalker bitch.
Yes.
I don't know if it's a dude or a girl, actually. I have no idea what this person looks like, but they're a complete stalker to the point where Ariana has them blocked on every single app. They have their phone number blocked. They have a harassment suit against this person, and they bought a ticket to an Ariana like meet and greet or something like a few months ago. And they walked to the door, and they were immediately like taken out of the place, and they were like, I paid for this ticket online. Like, you knew my name. My name was on my credit card, blah, blah, blah. Nobody stopped me from buying it, so you should let me in. And they're like, the bitch has a restraining order against you because you're a Twitter freak who does not leave her alone. Like, you're a psycho. And she's tried to sue the company for selling her a ticket. I don't know if she won or he won. I don't know.
No, you can't win. Like, it's not the company's, there's a restraining order, so.
Yeah, like, that's definitely has to be a breach of, like, the order, right?
So, it's on you. Like I said, I gave him back his money, and I'm like, I can't help it, dude.
Like, I guess no harm in trying,
but you need to solve the problem that you have with other people. Your problem actually is not with me.
Yeah.
If I'd been working the door, I would have let you in because I wouldn't even know who you were.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also a telltale sign of a problem person. They will disappear for like a year or two, maybe even 3, and then they'll come back when they know that they don't recognize the staff anymore because we have like a flip of staff. So they're just like, all right, well, mom's not looking, so I'm going to sneak in. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's what 86 people who get like actually 86th for life. They do that, at least once every 2 years. You'll see the same person with, they gained 40 pounds, got a goatee, I don't know, have a weird new friend you've never seen before. They get found on a bus, and they're just like, okay, you are the same guy from 2 years ago. You just have brown hair now or something.
And you know what? I even recognize like that there are ways for you to reform and change, but until you've convinced the people that you've hurt that you've done that.
Yeah. Like, we've had plenty of people who have been 86th from either it was 20 years ago, 5 years ago, 5 months ago, whatever. They've had times where they apologize, they sit down with the offended party, if it was a bartender or otherwise. I know people who have like broken the windows and doors, and they literally the next day were like, I'm sorry, I was drunk and I punched your window. Here's the money for it. I'm sorry. And then they're let back in, and they literally damaged the property because, like, just don't be a dick about apologizing. It's not that hard.
We are not our worst moments, right? My worst mistake doesn't define who I am.
Of course.
But I have to do, for lack of a better phrase, like restorative justice. Like, I have to like make amends for the things that I fucked up. Hey, what's up? We got a visitor in our video.
Ooh, who we got here? Well, never mind. Alan didn't want to say hi, I guess.
It's all good. It's all good. But I don't want to take up too much more of your time. We've had our a little bit past our hour mark here.
There is a timer, there isn't there?
There is a timer, yeah. So I have always enjoyed talking to you.
Hell yeah.
Thank you for everything. Thank you for being the connection that brought me here and allows me to do the things we're doing. And thank you for like giving the atmosphere to a venue, to a dive bar that I think has been and should be and hopefully will continue to be an integral part of the punk scene. And if you leave Snappers, I hope you go someplace else and continue doing the same thing if you want to continue doing that. So thank you for all you do.
To Snappers. We've all been bitching for years. We wanted to look like the heyday again, and you're doing that for us. It's awesome.
Oh, thank you. The owners told me that some guy who used to be a former bouncer that doesn't work there anymore said that it reminded him of Snappers, like how Snappers used to
Matt
be.
Pleva. Yeah, Pleva.
Yeah.
A very, very well-loved Snappers character.
So
he retired after quarantine, I think.
He that's what he said. Apparently, like he praised the night. So, but thank you. You constantly encouraged me to keep trying. You told me that this should happen, and so thank you so much for all that you've done.
Thank you, Scott.
And thank you everyone at home for listening and watching. This has been DCPC Live with Eva McSwagger, as I call her, from Snapper Magees.